Hi, how's it? In the name of Christ, how you doing? It's Karabo. I hope you're good. I hope you're peachy. I hope you're stellar, and I hope you're in a neat little bunch. It is the 17th of January 2024. It's currently 16:25. I hope my phone does not overheat because of recording this time. I've got to bring my schedule in lower, like earlier in the day. I have to make it work. Because if I don't exercise, I'm gonna die. Is that basic? So I'm nasally because I was just crying, but it doesn't matter because that's just what happens in my life. I cry, no one cares. I am on the verge of suicide, no one cares. I'm basically dying and no one cares. And when people could not give a rat's behind about what's going on with you, you just sucker up the tears, you just swallow them, you get over it. Anyway, so let me just put some caveats out there. There's my captions down below. They're not always accurate. Please look out for that. They are sometimes irreverent and use a small g for God. I don't have time to edit them, but I keep them there because I like them. Okay, what else? I'm doing edits, that's why I'm looking back there. I seriously doubt that I'm gonna wear makeup because yeah, makeup is for days when I'm feeling better. Like, it's like a toy that I play with, and there's just no avenue to play with toys when you're hurting, so I'm not wearing that. Yeah, look, that's it. I'm not blushing my cheeks. I'm not in the mood. I'm just not. I will not explain what in the world is going on because I am surveilled excruciatingly, and those who surveil me basically bully me based on my content, and yeah, so it is what it is. Let's just leave it at that. There is this movie that I watched some time ago, maybe 2 years ago. I can't remember the name of it, and I also can't really tell you the whole storyline properly because I was not even paying that much attention, but there was basically a scene that I remembered in that movie that, a scene that keeps on getting returned to me. Every time I get abused or persecuted to oblivion to a point of basically the edge of suicide, I get a flash vision of that movie, that particular scene in the movie. It's basically about this star violinist. Like, this chick can play violin. She's got at the violin school that she is registered in, she's the star. She's basically the best one there, and they love her. It's like a prestigious school. Yeah, she does what do you call this, she does acts, like shows. Whenever there's a show that she puts on, she sells out, and she's it's like being the lead ballerina in a play. Yeah, but instead of ballerina, it's like the lead violinist, and she's very well regarded, highly regarded. She's extremely skilled in this act, in this craft. And then a friend of her, not a friend, sorry, somebody comes to visit that school. She comes to visit that school from long ago, and she's a legacy. She's basically the version of that girl from a past life, some past dates. She used to be the lead violinist, the best violinist in the school, and then she got older, and I don't know if she got older or if she had an accident or something, the accident of which then no, she did not. Anyway, whatever, she got older and had to now leave this particular school, and then she came back and very jealously basically caused the lead violinist, the new girl that was playing, to lose her hand. Later on in the movie, she loses her hand, and the way that she caused her to lose her hand so as to basically take away her career as a violinist, to take away her whole career as a violinist, was by deceiving her. The storyline is a lot more complex than that, but God is always using it to help me understand what's happening whenever I get basically abused into oblivion to a point of wanting to die. He always uses that scene in that movie. This chick acts as if though she's cool with this lead violinist girl, and then puts a drug in her drink And this drug causes her to hallucinate badly, like hallucinate very badly. And in these hallucinations, she sees insects like worms crawling in under her skin. She first gets sick, right? Wants to vomit, and the sickness is just not going anywhere. All of these worms that are crawling in her body that she is hallucinating about, they're not actually there. She's hallucinating because she's on this drug that has also caused the severity of nausea. Upon vomiting, she's in a bus. The two of them are in a bus, and upon vomiting, the worms are then also in her vomit. Like, she vomits on the bus window, and the worms are on the window crawling. They are alive from inside her vomit. Like, her vomit had live maggots in it, and this chick is like freaking out like no man's business, saying, why am I vomiting living maggots, and why are they crawling in my skin? And she's all hysterical. And this chick is like, I don't know why I can see the live maggots. Like, you're sick, there's obviously something wrong with you, what's up? Eventually they exit the bus because they're causing a stir, and they end up in some wilderness, and this chick is still busy vomiting maggots, and she's also still seeing the maggots crawling all over her body, and she's hysterical. Ultimately, the maggots only appear on one of her hands. These maggots appear only there. They seem to all have collected in this one hand. And then this chick is like, oh my goodness, I need to cut this hand off because it's got maggots in it. And then this chick shows her a knife. She just takes out a knife out of nowhere. Like, where did she get a butchering knife, a weapon of that nature? Where did she get one? She literally came with that kind of weapon. And she gave it to this chick, and this chick grabbed this thing and chopped off her own hand. She ultimately woke up in hospital with her hand chopped off, gone. And it turns out that the drug that she was fed was a hallucinogen that caused her to think that her body has maggots in it that are live, that are crawling, and that she's even vomiting them. So she deceived her into chopping off her hand in order to take away her career as a violinist. So she basically lost everything. She wanted to continue to teach at the school, but the school was like, no, there's nothing, you're no good to us anymore. I'm sorry for what happened to you. Yeah, anyway, that's a very long story cut short of that movie. Every single time I get excruciatingly abused to a point of wanting to commit suicide, of wanting to die, like when I'm at the very precipice of suicide. And I'm even ideating it, and I'm hysterical. And I've got somebody literally giving me a noose, telling me hang. I've got somebody adding insult to that injury, telling me jump. When somebody's on my neck, even though I am hysterical, like I'm obviously in too much pain, stop adding insult to those injuries. And then they say carbon monoxide, do that. Drink petrol, do that. Take some pills, go hang yourself, just die. It's like God is showing me that what's happening here, Karabo, sober up, wake up, like get up from the state. This is that scene in that movie. There are hallucinogens in your drink, and they're making you see what's not there. And it's convenient that at the height of all of your sorrow, there is somebody always ready, standing right in front of you, saying, jump, just go. Nobody will care. Yeah, when you get put in that kind of a frenzy and nothing matters, your pain is so extreme, all you can think about is it's only gonna get worse. There will always be somebody saying jump if you're a Christian. There will always be somebody that's putting you in a position to finish something that it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. But in that moment, you are so hysterical with pain that you just can't see how this is ever gonna stop. You can't fathom how it's ever gonna end. You can't see how it's ever gonna, like, you can't see an end in sight to the pain. Like, I've been in this position for almost a decade, and I don't know what's happened, guys. Anyway, that happened to me today, just long story short, and I was taken to the end of myself, and I wanted to die. I wanted to go. I wanted to just test it to see if I can't. Like, if I can't go to heaven, like, I wanted to go today. I usually get motivated to carry on pushing by the fact that I've got work that is outstanding that I need to upload. And that keeps me going at least up until the time that content is uploaded. The way I was so pushed to the edge today, I didn't even care that there was work that I did that was led by the Holy Spirit that I should upload for the sake of whoever that can get people cured. I didn't care because for me it's like, the thing is, I probably was repeating myself. I was saying there's nothing that I say that's new. I just use new metaphors, I just use new imagery, new allegory, yeah. But I don't really change my messages, they're the same. So for me it was like, no one's gonna miss it. Yeah, I wanted to die, guys. I was trying to survive and I got told, just cut off your hand. There are people in this world that have sold their souls to the devil. They have completely given themselves over to the darkness. They live and breathe devil worship. They are invested members of the kingdom of darkness. And they're so sutured to this kingdom that no consequences, no ramifications, no potential consequences, basically, that they could experience from their deeds make them think to stop doing it. Like, it's just not an option. It does not dawn on them that these are the consequences of darkness. It does not dawn on them at all. Like, nothing of them ever considers God. They are not scared. They're not scared for eternal consequences. All they feel is just this thing being a necessary way to get through life. And so, given that they trust it so much, that just the prospect of leaving it, it's like they tell themselves, if I leave it, what else is there for me? Because I gotta find a way to control my environment. I gotta control the surrounding environment. And so, because they feel like it's their job to control the environment, they just can't leave. They cannot leave. Even if it has produced such a cataclysmic eventuality. It's like, to them, they feel like they've got power. Even if the outcome of what happened is an unintended consequence, they just imagine that this is too much power to throw away. We can, like, yeah, where else am I going to be able to manipulate things like this to get exactly what I want? I've lost everything, and I live with, like, in an icicle. Like, I live in a refrigerator, like in the coldest part. Like, I live in a deep freezer. I am cold all day and every day without fail, and I get today's attack, guys. I'm even weak. I couldn't even eat the full breakfast that I usually eat. I'm dying. I'm dying. I'm dying. Like, I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. I am not gonna make it unless the rapture happens, or somehow miraculously I get help. I'm not gonna live. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. This country has given itself to the devil. Everybody has given themselves to the devil. Everybody has given themselves to darkness. There's nothing left. Like, it's like, I feel like an endangered species, and I'm like the last one standing, or among the last ones standing, and I am inevitably gonna die. Like, just inevitably. Like, I'm not going to make it. This morning I was woken up by just extreme nightmares involving my ex-boyfriend some former friends, like they were all in the same dream, telling me this is the same witchcraft. Not the same, sorry, it's witchcraft done around the same time, but it's being employed in the same moment. And I saw so much pornography in that dream. There was just so much porn. So many people having sex everywhere around me, trying to seduce me to be turned on. Guys, like, you know, it was some chick that I used to be friends with from MTN that I believe slept with my boyfriend when I was dating him. It was my ex-boyfriend in that dream. It was my cousin, the one that's gonna die in a car accident like Tuli Tilis, that I've been talking about, the horrible one that used to be my best friend. It was her sister in that dream. Her sister, where both of them were in there. The sister's boyfriend was there. There were some guys I didn't know. Just, guys, it was pornographic. It was just freaking porn. It's like it was an orgy. They were all just having sex in front of me. And I looked at her, and they were trying to turn me on. They were trying to get me to desire sex. And so they just went and had sex, like all of them, in front of me. Some of them, it was not even with the men I know they're with right now. It wasn't with husbands or boyfriends. It was with strangers. Just guys they met. The foreboding that I felt after waking up from that dream was just extreme. All I could think was, it's never gonna stop. It's never gonna stop. It's never gonna stop. When I got out of that dream, when I woke up, I heard the song, Let Me Love You. Yeah. Is it Asha or Mari or whatever? Like, baby, let me love you. Like, guys, oh goodness. I feel like I'm the only Christian left on the earth. And I don't think I'm gonna make it. I'm not gonna live through this, guys. It's just not happening. I'm not gonna survive this. One day it's gonna go quiet in my ministry and it will be a sound conclusion that I passed away. I'm not gonna live. This is not something I can survive. I am aware of it. People are trying to get me to walk out on Jesus by any means necessary, because they don't think he's God and they don't think I'm onto anything. Another dream that I woke up from was seeing the sangoma, like just aside, like a lot of sangomas just sitting they were everywhere. It's like they were sick guys, like, yo, I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. I can't. This country, yo, guys. South Africa is dead. This country is dead. Like, I don't even know how I got saved. I am so confused. I don't even know how it was so evil. Like, it's just so evil. It's so evil. Oh goodness, no. Oh my goodness, it's so evil. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. There's nothing I can do. I have tried. I have held on. But I'm not gonna survive this. I'm not gonna make it. In this dream, the streets, from the beginning to the end, there were all these sangomas just sitting down on the floor. They were just lying down, and they looked like they were in a trance. They looked like they were in a trance. And they were humming. And they were all over the street, like on the road, just a regular road. But instead of it being clear or kids playing, it was just sangomas next to each other, and they were just humming. It was so evil. They were wearing those clothes of theirs, Masela Ali Abona. A lot of them were sitting down, like, you know how they sit, like in this 90-degree way. And they had these shells that they tend to put around their ankles. And they were just swaying front to back and just humming. And they were all over the street. And I had an understanding in my dream that if I were to go out and turn a corner, they would be in that new street too. that I would just keep walking in this whole neighborhood as far as I can feasibly walk without getting tired, and they would still be there. They were covering almost every square meter of the street, and they were just humming. They were just humming, and it's like they had taken over the whole neighborhood. They had taken over the whole neighborhood, the whole Johannesburg, however far they went. Like, I'm not gonna make it. You know what? Like, I can't say that the whole world is like this, because I really don't know. But what I do know is that this country is done for. South Africa is done for. Like, there's nothing. This country is not getting rescued. There's no way that South Africa is getting rescued. It is just a remnant. South Africa is Sodom. It's like the world in the days of Noah. It's an environment that only one or two people are gonna get extracted out of it, and everything else is gonna get destroyed. It's rubbish. It's a dump site. It's a wasteland. There are no Christians in this country. Like, you need to understand, there are no Christians in this country. They do not exist. There's, like, in these churches that you're attending, out of 100 parishioners, there are only 2 that are saved. That's what I see. When you go to Grace Bible Church and there's like 400 people in the main service, and in the overflows another 200, only 10, 15, maybe 50 are saved out of that 1,000. Like, there are no Christians in this country. South Africa is doomed. It is a cesspool of darkness. This country is done for. It's gone. Like, you're not saved. This guys, I'm dying because this country is dead. I would not be lingered in this situation if this was a Christian country. I would have been stood in the gap for. I would have been rescued. I would not be subjugated to the tyranny of living with people that hate me, that call themselves family. I would not be living in an environment where every day my life is in danger, where I am trying really hard not to die, and everybody's doing everything in their power to push me to a place that they want me to go to, without realizing that I'd rather die first before I go there. They're testing witchcraft. They're testing mistreatment. They're testing savagery. They're testing to see if I will finally do what they want me to do. And all that which they want me to do is so disgusting to me that I would literally rather die. So whether or not their intentions are for me to die is irrelevant. Because bottom line is just the fact that they keep trying to make me do things I don't want is what's gonna kill me. That's what's gonna kill me. The attempt to marry me off to one of their psychopaths is gonna kill me. The attempt to make me the mistress of a married man is what's gonna kill me. The attempt to make me fornicate is what's gonna kill me. The fact that all these things that like just all these compromises they want me to walk in, that's what's gonna kill me. Because it's too disgusting. I cannot do it. I am a child of God, and I would rather die. I would rather die than do what they want me to do. So they just keep going back to the drawing board. They're gonna curse me and like until I'm dead. They're gonna keep trying witchcraft until I'm dead. I told you about that evil dream where everybody was having sex in front of me, like watching porn, trying to seduce me, trying to turn me on because they want me to have sex. It's rape. I don't know how many times I can say this. It's rape. They're trying to get me raped. They're trying to turn me on so I will have sex, and I keep saying, hi, I'm a Christian. Why will you not just respect that? I can't fornicate and not sin against God. Why will you not respect my faith? And I live in a country that apparently respects human rights. and they are throwing me in so much darkness that I will die. It's just so inevitable. It's so inevitable. It's just so inevitable that this is going to end badly. It's over for this country. Like, there's no future for South Africa. I saw it in a dream. God said that every square meter of your country is as good as being sat on by a witch. They have muddied the air. They've destroyed everybody. They have made everyone drunk. Everyone is dizzy. Everyone is hallucinating. Everybody is high on the occult. People who don't dabble don't even know that they're under spells. And Christians are the only ones that can see what's going on. And they cannot fight it because there's too many. The whole country is dead. The whole country is dead. And God does not have a reputation in the Bible of fixing a country anyway when everyone is dead. He doesn't do that. It's not what God does. So people can't just look at me and say, if your God is God, Karabo, why isn't he rescuing you? If your God is God, why isn't he saving you? But that's just, don't you see? Jesus, when he was dying, he got mocked just like I'm being mocked. That's why I feel like this is going to result in my death. The exact same things that happened to Jesus. People kept saying, if you really belong to God, if you really are the Son of God, why don't you take yourself down from that cross? Why don't you just take yourself down? Why don't you save yourself, rescue yourself since you're God? Did the Father rescue Christ? Did Jesus bring himself down from the cross since he was God? No. The Lord has never ever satisfied people that are patronizing the Holy Spirit. People that are patronizing the power of God. People saying, if you're God, show me. If you're really God, come out with it. He's never responded to that. He just does not have a history of humoring psychopaths that are insisting on finishing what they've started and then telling themselves after putting a man on a cross, nailing him into it, insisting after doing that, those are their deeds. It's what they did. They put him on a cross. They nailed him to it. They did that. They scourged him. They made him walk exasperated with that cross on his back all the way to Golgotha. They did that. It was their deeds. They did that. They did that. Do you seriously think God can be mocked like that? Where it is that you go and you take a person and you drag them through town. You make it impossible for them to live. You cause them to carry a heavy cross with skin ripped out from their back. And then once you have nailed them to a cross and they're on it, do you think God responds to people who then say, if you're God, bring yourself down? How under, it's exactly what the devil does. He's into magic. And people go and they ask him, if you really are powerful, show me a trick. Wave a wand in the sky and show me a miracle. If you want me to worship you, Satan, show me something. The devil is the one that responds to that. He's the one that enables your occult power to manifest. He's the one with the counterfeit signs, the miracles. He's the one that if at all you want to test him, he will let you see fireworks. But God is God. He's holy. And people have no reverence for him. He is the creator. He is a very serious individual. He is not to be played with. He is not to be mocked. You cannot say to him, if you're God, take yourself down from the cross and show us that you're God. After people scourged him, ripped apart his flesh with a cat o' nine tails, caused him to walk in the blazing sun, carrying a heavy cross, injured. nailed him to that cross. And then once he's erected on that cross, then say, bring yourself down. You torture a person and then say, if you really serve God, why isn't he getting you out of this? If you really belong to Jesus, if at all this Jesus of yours is God, why isn't he rescuing you from evil people around? They've been doing it for a while. It's written in God's word that no servant is greater than his master. If they persecuted him, they will persecute us also. So in the same way that they persecuted Jesus, they're doing it to us. If your God is so gaudy, why don't you bring yourself down from this cross? If really Jesus is Lord Karabo, why don't you have a job? Why can't you get out from your mother's house? Why do you keep on getting abused by your family? Why do you keep on getting harassed by evil men? These licentious creeps that you claim are slapping you kakorobela, why doesn't God just knock them to the ground? Why are you not bringing yourself down from this cross if you're indeed the daughter of God? They said the same thing to Jesus. If indeed you're the son of God, bring yourself down. And now they're saying, if indeed you're the daughter of God, bring yourself down from that cross. And all I can think about right now is I'm dying. I'm obviously gonna die. Like, this is obviously gonna result in the end of my life. Like, I cannot survive this. I cannot. From what, guys, South Africa is dead. No one is coming for me. Why did Jesus die on the cross? Why did it get to the point of his death? It's because every one of his own people, a whole bunch of crowds that used to encircle him as he preached, ultimately said, crucify him, exchanging his life for Barabbas. When he was sent to Golgotha, nobody resisted, nobody opposed it, nobody tried to riot, march, strike, basically make it clear and known that nobody tried to make it clear and known that we're not okay with this. Goodness, there are more strikers, marchers, people who are demonstrating their antagonism of a death sentence. There are more of them around death row criminals who are sentenced to die on a particular day. There are more people who march saying this is barbaric, bring down the death penalty, this person is innocent, why don't you find another way to punish them? There's more such people outside of such murderers and murderesses, people who have actually killed, people who there's so much overwhelming evidence against them. There is just so much evidence against them in a way that is clear. I need to save this because I don't want to lose my content. There are more demonstrators outside of death row criminals that are about to get killed than there was outside of Jesus's death, and Jesus was completely innocent. Nobody was trying to demonstrate to basically make it clear that this is wrong, this man is innocent. The supporters of Jesus were a handful, and they had to hide in between crowds. Peter even denied Christ 3 times before the rooster crowed because of just the overwhelming support against Jesus. The overwhelming number of people that stood with the verdict, with the incarceration of an innocent man. So his disciples had to hide in the shadows. The supporters of Christ, the women around him, the few of them that there were, they could only just look in horror while they kill an innocent man, while everybody was cheering. Being despised like that is not a first. It's not something that's happening anew, that the world is not accustomed to or used to. It's not new. It happened to Christ, and those that led him to his demise, to his death ultimately, were more numerous and by a landslide than those that stood with Jesus. And so when people are determined to have a man killed, they're not gonna make it. Like, nobody is going to live in a country where they are hated, and even though they're accused of a crime they did not commit, if people just insist that they get finished off, nobody's coming out of that. Nobody is coming out of that. Like, if Christ himself did not rescue himself from the cross, came down, if the Father did not capitulate or heed or take in his stride The fact that, like, even these dogs barking, it's demonic. Like, this country, the Father refused to humor wicked men. That's what I'm getting at. If you want to watch my son die, then do it. It's what you're supposed to do. You will hate him until he is killed. And then his family, his own people will bring him from that cross and bury him. His funeral is not even going to be packed with a whole bunch of people because they will imagine good riddance. Good riddance. That's this country. If God is God, where, Karabo, is he, and why is he not giving you your life? If you are all like the citizens of the surrounding, that region, that area where Christ was crucified, all that can happen to Christians in that space is their martyrdom. All that can happen is their death. They are not being brought down from that cross because God is not going to humor people that are mocking him after dragging him injured through a street, nailing him to a cross, and then saying, bring yourself down. I'm not being brought down from this because God has never been one to respond to that kind of mockery. So he's not going to respond to your mockery of me, to my family's mockery of me. He's not going to do it. He's just going to let them get what they want. He's going to let them kill me. The Lord does not respond to being... What's the word that I am looking for? Like when you... Like just testing him. There's another word. Like provocation. Thank you. That's the word that I'm looking for. The Lord is not going to respond to provocation. He's not going to respond to you provoking him to react. He's not going to respond to people's provocation to make him react, seeing as his disciple is being killed. He just does not do that. It's not what he's been doing. On top of that, when an entire country wants to kill a Christian, the Lord has never been one to save that country. He rather extracts that Christian if that's what he wants to do, and then judges that country. He then judges that land. He then judges that ecosystem. So one of two things can happen here. Either I get miraculously raptured out of this before I am killed, or I will inevitably die. But South Africa is not getting their dreams come true in provoking God, testing him to see if he'll react to his servant being scourged, dragged through a town, hot, carrying a cross on their back, weak, nailed on it, and then fed some vinegar. He's not going to barge. That's just not what he's ever done. I am desperate for the rapture, of course. But if it doesn't happen, I'm gonna die. Like, it's inevitable. It's inevitable. I mean, just the fact that I came out of a dream where I was watching porn. Where people that I knew who had hurt me with sorcery were all just having sex, a whole orgy in front of me. In front of me. That's how much people are trying to tempt me to fornicate, to commit sexual immorality, to take anything that comes my way. They're trying to make me feel like I'm sexually frustrated. I haven't had sex in 12 years, so I need to just go and do it already. Seducing a person with porn. I've had a guy do that to me in the past, actually. Some dude that was trying to sleep with me, and he made me watch porn. I was turned off. If I was turned off back before I got saved, what then? Now, especially that I'm born again. What then now? I said it yesterday, and I will keep on saying it again. South Africa is damned. How there are no Christians here. There are no Christians in this country. They are not. I don't care how full your churches are. I don't care how many Bible self-study groups you have every Wednesday. I don't care how many of you gather in prayer. All-night prayers, vigils. I do not care how much you pray at weddings, how much you pray at funerals, how much you pray at baby showers, events, birthday parties. I don't care. My family members are always praying. My little sister, Sweet 16, I was made to pray. They constantly pray. They even get down on their knees. Some of them even fast. In the book of Isaiah, the Lord speaks about fasting without repentance. It's nothing. Obedience without sacrifice is nothing. You're just beating your flesh for mahala. The fasting of which is also done precisely because people do not want to find themselves wanting. And so they fast thinking they can use a fast to twist God's hand to give them a job, to give them a car, to give them a husband. That's the only reason they fast. They don't fast for holiness. They don't fast for righteousness. They don't fast for the recovery to God of their countries. I do not care how full your churches are, South Africa. This country has no Christians. There's only like 10 of us. Out of a population of, how many are we, like 40 million? I would imagine there's likely only about 1 million true Christians in this country. And they are sparsely scattered all across this land. Sparsely scattered. This country claims to have a population of Christians that is 70 to 80%. 1 million out of 40 million is nowhere near 70%. 500,000 out of 40 million is nowhere near 70%, not even 50. There are no Christians in this country except for a negligible number in any square kilometerage. I don't even know how I got saved. I don't understand who gets born again in such an evil country. How do they even respond to the gospel when all the examples they have on the left and the right of them are so fallen? There are no Christians in South Africa. There aren't. It's Sodom. It is Sodom. Because if there were true believers, I would not have been kicked out of 3 churches, and I also would not be 10 years down the line still struggling to overcome all the darkness. I would not be getting nightmares where people professing to be Christian are having an orgy in front of me, trying to turn me on, seduce me, make me have sex. I would not be so compoundedly abused by men, attacking the living daylights out of me to force me to be their wives. I would not be dealing with family members who call themselves Christians that cannot help but push me over the edge, telling me, go jump if you are being pushed to the edge. Kill yourself, I don't care. When I am already at the height of sorrow, having to survive all that, at some point, one of them is going to get me to finally kill myself. Like, it's gonna happen. It's inevitable. I'm eventually going to be pushed to the end of my life. It's going to happen. Unless I get raptured first, and soon. It would have to happen soon. Or I get rescued somehow by some good Samaritan that harnesses me out of this hole that I am in, which I highly doubt. Like, guys, my suicide is inevitable. Like, I just don't see. Today, I was so close. I was so close. It's just gonna happen. And all the theories and doctrines that I've ever come up with was saying that suicide takes you to hell. Today, I didn't even care about that. I just wanted to die. And nobody is coming for me. No one. No one. They're just gonna keep getting worse. I'm gonna keep seeing porn in my dreams. I'm going to keep seeing sangoma strewn all over the street. God telling me just how much everybody is under a spell and how only a remnant are fighting it. And this remnant are being persecuted by the churches they belong to, home cell Bible studies that they belong to, Christians that they belong to are abusing the crap out of them. They have given the body of Christ a nightmarish life because that's what happens to Christians in a country where there are no Christians. They live a nightmare. They're second-class citizens. They're persecuted. They're abused. They cannot come up for air. They can't work. They can't do anything. Their lives are squeezed in on all sides. They're surveilled 24 hours a day. They cannot move left or right. That's what happens in a country that has no Christians. The 2 or 3 or 5 of them that are there have no life. The few of them that are there have absolutely no life. And so the fact that I have no life is just evidence of the fact that South Africa has no Christians. We basically do not exist. The way we're so greatly outnumbered. And like I said, it does not matter that you fill out churches. It does not matter that you call yourself a Christian country. It does not matter that you sit in Bible studies during the week. It does not matter even in the slightest that you pray on events, before you have dinner, before you go out to work to drive, before you travel far away on a trip. You are constantly sending prayers up to heaven, but your hearts are far from God. Because if that was not the case, I wouldn't be in this position. Even the US would not be able to abuse me like this. If South Africa was truly Christian, I'd be protected by my own country. There are no Christians in South Africa. Just darkness. And the 5 of us that are here are on the precipice of death. The 3 of us that are still here are literally dying. And so we're endangered species. We're literally dying. We're literally dying. And God is not going to save us because he never has. He would have saved Christ from the cross. The Lord never has responded to being provoked by evil people who put his servants in a position to die. He's never responded to that. And he's not about to start. So I'm not getting a job. I'm not getting taken out of this. I'm just gonna die. That's all that's gonna happen. My family members, well, my mom has a funeral policy, so it's ideal. She should start cashing in on it. She should start deeply considering cashing in on it. Let them deal with whatever it is that they've done once I've died. But it appears my death is inevitable. They're trying everything in their power to make me do that which I don't want to do, hoping that somehow they're going to succeed, to make me compromise against God without committing suicide. They imagine that I'm so scared to commit suicide that I would much rather turn to witchcraft, that I would much rather turn to fornication, become the mistress of a married man, marry a devil worshipper, take anything. They imagine that suicide is so daunting for me that I will never do it. That's what they think. Except it is far more seemly to me than doing any of that. Just the fact that I come out of a dream where I was made to watch porn in a dream. Out of people that I've known in the past, some of whom were even having sex with people I don't recognize, is telling me that this is going nowhere but one direction. I have begged and pleaded with the Lord to take me. Somehow, give me a heart attack, a cancer, a brain aneurysm, even a car accident. I have asked for death multiple times because I can't live this life. I have begged the Lord to rescue me from suicide because I don't want to take myself out. But at this rate, it's inevitable. It's inevitable. Last time, I merely considered it deeply as I was crying, and I stayed my hand. This time around, I actually got in my car, and I switched on the car, having put Vaslapa in the exhaust pipe. And the Vaslapa that I put in the exhaust pipe, every time I would switch on my vehicle, it would get spat out. It got spat out each time. I kept wondering, why am I not dying? Why am I not dying? Only for me to realize that it fell on the floor. As soon as I switched on the car, I wanted to take myself out with carbon monoxide. I wanted a quiet death that was not going to hurt me. I nearly did it. I literally attempted suicide today. And the only reason I'm not dead is because I tried enough times to finally decide not to. It kept on getting spat out of my exhaust pipe every time I would switch on the ignition. What I'm trying to explain is that next time, I'm just gonna die. I don't know what to do. I get yelled at with no discretion. I get spoken to like I am crap, like I'm trash. I get told go jump, nobody cares. I get spoken to, get towards. I just get, like, things just get raised. With me merely walking around, it's like there's nothing I can do. I dot my I's and I cross my T's. I try to hunker down. I try to just keep quiet. I basically tiptoe around everybody. But they're the ones that provoke me. They're the ones that provoke me. Last night it was my mother. This morning it was my sister, the older one. I cannot. Like, I can't live like this. I can't. They're gonna keep on poking and prodding away at me, trusting that I'm gonna live until I'm frustrated. I spoke about that yesterday. That they imagine that they can put me into such a tight corner that I will get exhausted until I take that which I find disgusting in my stride. Before I will do any of that, I will die. I literally attempted suicide today. It didn't work until I calmed down ever so marginally and stayed my hand. When the thing kept on popping out of my exhaust fumes, my exhaust pipe, I seriously considered drinking any medication that I can find in the house at all. I wanted to clean out my mother's stash and my sister's stash and just drink all of those pills and hope to go home. And the only reason I didn't do that was because I didn't want to survive that. What if, just like what God did with taking that thing out of the exhaust pipe today, making sure that it gets shot out and I can't basically finish myself off with carbon monoxide. What if he does it with me taking pills? I just could not fathom the excruciating pain because I have overdosed on pills before when I was a kid. Trying because my mom had just yelled at me. My mom and sister, they've been at this for a minute. They've been hurting me together, working in unison with one another for a long time. Ever since I was a child. I have attempted suicide as a child. I could have been like 11. And I took a whole bunch of her stash of pills that I could find in the bedroom. I ended up falling, fainting, basically passing out. Almost, I would have died if I wasn't found. I would have died. I was found on the bathroom floor. And as soon as I was woken up from the bathroom floor because I was dozing off, among the pills in the stash of pills that I took were sleeping pills. So I first slept, and if nobody had found me on time, because they were ignoring me, doing their own thing in the house, if an hour had progressed, I would have eventually entered into eternity. I don't know what I would have done. I don't know if I would have gone to heaven or what, because I was quite pious as a child. I don't know what would have happened. but I nearly died. And they woke me up. And it was when I woke up that I then vomited immediately. As soon as they took me from the floor, as soon as they shook me from the floor when they found me on my mom's bathroom floor, out came Ikwebu Eliningi, like I vomited all of those pills out immediately. That was God. He's been rescuing me from suicide for the longest time. There was a time when I nearly drowned myself in a bathtub because of the same thing. It's always been their abuse of me that got me to that point. It's always been the same thing. When I was 21, I wanted to drown myself marabad. And the only thing that kept me alive was basically me being communicated to something that a friend of mine in high school said, that every suicide goes to hell. And at that stage, 21, I was already a mad sinner. I was a hard knock sinner. I was a fornicator. I was all different kinds of weird stuff. I was not in the innocence that I was when I first tried it as a kid. But the first time that I did it as a child, twice did I ever try to commit suicide as a kid. I too, twice. And the first time, like I said, those pills, I vomited them. The second time again, instead of dying, I got sick. Instead of dying, I got sick after vomiting. I was sick for the next week. Just vomiting. And the pain was so excruciating in my stomach. The one time, the doctor, he realized that I had a liver infection. But I recovered from that as a kid. But the pain in my stomach was so excruciating from just whatever it is that was the corrosion inside my stomach that those pills caused, that I got afraid to basically try to kill myself again using pills, because if I survive, I'm going to be in a lot of pain. And if I survive, I might find myself as a vegetable. If I survive, I might find myself dealing with kidney failure. If I survive. So I have basically stopped trying to do pills. But when the whole exhaust spat out, Vaslapayaka, I was like, goodness, what am I supposed to do? I can't drink pills, because what if God survives me? If he survives me, I'm going to be sick. I don't have medical aid. Who's going to take care of me? Who's going to visit me in the hospital? Like, I'm going to be put on suicide watch, and people are going to find they have a cause to put me in a psychiatric hospital. I cannot survive. I cannot make it. So that's the only reason I didn't down pills, because I have survived both times in the past when I tried. If God won't let me commit suicide, what then is going to happen to my life? Because I cannot live like this. I can't live like this. He has saved me 3 times in my life before. 4, including today. 4 times. Will I not grab a noose next time and make sure I'm gone? Like, that's what people are killing me. They're killing me, calling my bluff. I would have been found dead in my car, having inhaled carbon monoxide fumes. And they all would have acted like this is not something they caused. This thing can only end in one of 2 ways: my death or the rapture. Because it's highly unlikely, me living in this cesspool of a country, that I'm ever going to get rescued from a cross that I've been nailed on by people who keep on saying, crucify her, crucify her. I'm being murdered in broad daylight, in waking light, living in some ominous dystopian country that hates God. I do not know if South Africa is the only country like this, or if at all there are basically safe havens in this land, in this world. I don't know where it is that it's safe. All I know is that South Africa is dead. I have got to leave this country if I'm going to live. I've got to get out of South Africa if I'm going to survive. If the Lord is not rapturing the saints, I have to somehow get harnessed out of this by someone from another country that's going to put me in their land, because I cannot live in South Africa. There are no Christians here. Except for 4 or 5 of us, and we are all in freaking danger. It's that basic. But anyway, I just had to share my heart. I didn't even want to tell anybody. I didn't want to confess that I nearly committed suicide today, that I actually attempted. I don't want to come out with it, because that's the kind of stuff that makes the occult brave. It makes them feel like next time she's going to grab a noose. Which is something that actually is going to end her life. I can't stand pain. So means to end my own life. With the pain, I can't slit my wrists. I cannot. I hate the fact that I was so sick after taking pills before. That's why I opted for carbon monoxide. I wanted a painless exit. And I also don't want to kill myself in a way that's going to make me survive. And then after Kepela, I've got a disability. I've got some kind of a permanent issue, like a cancer or like a liver issue. I don't want something that's going to, if I make it, give me some permanent issue. So I guess we are stranded now, are we not? It's just stranded. God is not going to humor the provocation of South Africa when I'm saying I'm gonna die. And they're like, well, let's see. Let the Lord rescue you from this. He will not. It's just not what he does. It's just not what he does. He does not respond to being provoked. The only way out of this is to leave South Africa or get in the rapture. But for as long as I'm in this country, I am a dead woman walking. It's inevitable. I'm a dead woman walking. I'm on death row. I'm dying. I'm dead. I'm as good as dead for as long as I stay in this country. There are no Christians here. I can't say that enough. Anyway, whatever. I'm gonna go work out now. I'm signing out in Christ's name. I have to try and help myself get through this.